You're listening to Dude Podcast with JC and Will. Put some pep in that step. Enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm JC.
And I'm Will. And you are listening to...
Oh, you're listening to Dude.
Did you guys forget about us?
I bet you did, but we're back.
We've been gone for a hot minute.
You know what's horrifying, though, Will? ChatGPT, that was really scary, actually, by the way. Will sent me a description of our podcast via ChatGPT.
Yeah, I've been playing around with ChatGPT lately. And so I asked ChatGPT, what is Dude Podcast with JC and Will? That's all I said. And this is what came up. The Dude Podcast is a comedy show hosted by lifelong friends JC Crum and Will Skaggs, who first met in 1998 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Their podcast features candid conversations filled with humor, nostalgia, and quirky anecdotes from their lives. Each episode delves into a variety of topics such as pop culture nostalgia, discussions on classic shows like Seventh Heaven, 90s fashion, and childhood memories, personal stories, humorous tales from their own experiences, including JC's adventures in New York City and Will's unique encounters, whatever that means, guest appearances, interviews with friends and personalities like rappers G&G and veterinarian Jason Carver, adding diverse perspectives to their conversations. Their storytelling is characterized by a blend of absurdity and heartfelt moments, often leading to unexpected laughter.
It's gonna take all of our jobs.
That was, here's the thing, I do believe in what we do here, but they really sold us. They made me feel so, proud to be a Duty.
I'm kind of hoping though, in some weird way, maybe we destroy ChatGPT. All of a sudden they're I just imagine these people in white coats who are running around with their hands up, where things are on fire. They're like, I don't know, it's malfunctioning. It doesn't know. It's not handling the data correctly anymore. What's the problem? It found this podcast. This Dude podcast, and it somehow breaks
There's a little
the system.
Something in the back of my brain every time I type in a question that imagines on the other end it's some very some dude in India who's the fastest typer in the world. It's like, what is Dude podcast? He's like, oh no.
My favorite, I really wish it was not that, but in fact Samuel L. Jackson's character from Jurassic Park with the cigarette in his mouth, and he's just he's just a very beaten, middle-aged black man who's just with a cigarette bopping up and down, who's very upset at the requests and questions I have. And I really wish it was a Samuel L. Jackson making the responses back, because it would just have all kinds of colorful language in it.
Isn't it funny? You've touched on something here. Isn't it funny how that scene has made an impression on all of us, the way he is able to balance that cigarette on his lip? I think about that. So I think about that occasionally. I'm like, that's a talent. That was an acting choice, by the way.
Do you think he... Yeah, I want to know if he was a cigarette smoker beforehand. I've heard people who smoke cigarettes, if you watch movies and you can tell who actually smokes and who's acting. I've heard you can people can tell based upon how they're holding the cigarette and stuff like that.
I believe it. It's the same thing with whenever I watch any sort of baseball movie, I'm so disgusted at the acting choices of could you not have worked on the swing? You got dialect coaches, and you couldn't work with a baseball coach to formulate some decent swing. And do you think there's a smoking coach? That'd be kind of cool.
No, there probably is. That's whenever. Again, I've maybe smoked all of my whole life. maybe 4 or 5 packs like my entire life, right? And I'm sure I look like that too. Where people, if you were to see me across the bar, and I'm at some, you've caught me at some strange moment smoking a cigarette, you know that I do not smoke cigarettes.
I've seen you smoke a cigarette before, and it doesn't happen often, but you smoke it like you're taking a big chug of chocolate milk. You go like this. I'm like, why are your cheeks puffed out like a chipmunk? You're not storing nuts in your cheek. You're smoking.
And then, what if you like look and you're like, oh, that guy's so. And it's like I just smoke like a freaking like 1980s like flamboyant director. It's just like, I'm listening. No, you over there. You look at him. You don't even think about doing that. Action.
Have there ever been times where you're watching a show and a character is smoking so much it starts to bother you? Because that happens to me a lot in movies too.
Yeah. There's the one that's like he's like burning the cig. He's like, yeah, it's like the neurotic. Usually the neurotic smoker who goes through the cig, like, like within, like, again, there's like a couple back and forths with characters, and he's already on like the second scene. You're like, that is not how even neurotic smokers, like, they're not going through that many.
Bothers me
because they enjoy the cigarette.
What's it called? Fight Club. Every time I watch him, like, he's smoking too much. How is he fighting with those kind of lungs? It bothers me.
Yeah, you're absolutely. I mean, the Tyler Durden. You know what? Here's the thing I don't understand about cigarettes or Mary Jane or any of that stuff, right? Like, okay, we have all this technology, right? We have technology to, planes can like, can basically fly and land themselves, and we can go to the moon and we can do all this stuff. Why can't we make cigarettes that like don't stink, or marijuana that doesn't smell?
It is interesting because I have been around people who you have smoked, and it really is off-putting.
It's stinky. It's stinky. It's stinky. And it's stinky if it's marijuana. It's very stinky too, and I think that's the biggest. I can almost guarantee you, people don't say it, but that's one of the biggest pushbacks that states have against marijuana is it smells.
Oh, really? You think so?
Oh, I think it's very stinky. I think it's a very stinky
you think
thing.
It's the smell?
I think it's not talked about, but I think it's one of the main things that people are like, for example, like when it became legalized in New York, right? Like instantly, like now you go to New York, it's just like it stinks, man. Like you're like, I don't want to stink. I don't like that stink. I didn't ask for it. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't need it.
But some people probably like that smell, which is upsetting. Like, have you ever seen those people who like will smell a cheese and be like, this smells like a child's diaper. It smells delicious. Like, they'll describe a cheese smell in a disgusting way and then eat it as if it's the best thing they've ever eaten.
Well, I don't...
JC, I'm telling you...
Who has said that about a diaper?
Dudies.
Jeez, this is not a real person.
I'm telling you...
Real.
JC, listen.
Diaper?
Truly. YouTube, like cheese expert. Okay, find any expert talking about cheese. I promise you, they will go, oh, this brie cheese has this 30-year-old rind on it, and it smells like a horse's ass. Goes well with a delicious Chianti. You're like, why would you describe it that way? I promise you can find it.
Speaking of, my son has been constipated for the last couple
So you've been giving him cheese?
Well, no, he finally today started like it started coming out. And
Okay.
he'd just be like, oh, like he just like he'd be playing with his toys, and then all of a sudden he'd go, oh, like he just like kind of like, and we're like, oh, is your belly hurt? He goes, yeah, and then he go, poop, and I guess it would start coming, and he about 3 times finally did, but it was very painful, evidently. But
you know what's crazy is my son is the opposite. He is just a faucet of crap. He'll do like 3 a day easy.
Rowdy's got that little puppet of a kid that you have.
He's super into Spidey, Rowdy, okay? And Spider-Man, but it's like a kid's version. It's like kid Spider-Man, okay?
They call him Spidey?
Spidey and his amazing friends, right? Okay. No, but here's the thing. They took that Into the Spider-Verse characters, the Spin and Ghost Spider, and so now they've made a whole line of kids' shows.
I love that you know all of the characters. You're like, Ghost Spider, Spin.
I know all about this now. Well, so my son one day came up to my wife and I, and he goes, I want Sabadoo Spidey. And we said, what? He goes, I want Sabadoo Spidey. And he's freaking out. He's just screaming, Sabadoo Spidey. And we're like, what is Sabadoo Spidey? And it turns out there's an episode of Spidey and they have a saber-toothed tiger. He's screaming. But that's one thing about parenting they don't tell you about is when a kid who can't really talk very well is demanding something and you have no clue what they're saying. Sabadoo Spidey.
It sounds like you know what it sounds like he's doing? He's trying to sing that Zoot Suit Riot song. Remember that? Zoot Suit Riot, Riot. It sounds like Zabadoo, Spidey, Spidey.
Is there an obscure song that your son sings? Because my boys sing a very obscure song.
No, we just are really, really into Wheels on the Bus and
classic,
and we really like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and we sing it all the time. But like we also like only sing certain parts of it. Like he'll only sing
your son loves music, by the way. He does a lot of DJing at your house.
He DJs. He is obsessed with music. He has a little at all the little parks around here. There's like little music things, and he's obsessed. That's like all he's interested in. He's interested in that and the swing. And that's it. Those are like the 2 things he goes to the park to do. Is to like play the bongos, and then he'll do that.
He played the bongos a lot when I was there, and he did some DJing.
He's got a little DJ set. Yeah, he's like really into music. He dances to.
He does dance.
But those are the 2. Those are the 2 songs. I'm trying to think if there's any other like. Oh, we really like the theme song for Frog and Toad. And then what else did he recently was dancing to another.
He was singing a lot of Mickey Mouse when I was there.
Oh, we love Mickey. Yeah, we're just obsessed with Mickey. I'm trying to think there was a song recently that I played that he would dance to, and I was very surprised. It may have been Lady Gaga. It may have been Abracadabra. He may have been dancing to that.
You know what song my boys are obsessed with? Both of them sing along is Blue by Eiffel 65.
Wait, what are they like?
Abudi-dabudi.
Dude, I'm Blue's a banger.
I love that song.
I love our blue house with a blue window. That song.
It's a terrible song.
Those guys, every day when they were like, when they were like behind the curtain, it just went up and they just had to probably, like when they were at the peak, on MTV or whatever the heck, TRL or whatever the heck they were on, they had to just be like, what the hell are we doing? Like this?
For sure.
This is like, I'm a classically trained musician, and this is what like I'm blue. Like what is it?
You know what I feel that way anytime I see any musician playing for like a pop star and they're in the background on a live set, like I don't know, like the Shania Twain, which is a bad example because we all love Shania Twain. But in her "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" music video, aren't there like shirtless dudes playing the guitar in the background? Do you think they're like, I'm actually good at this? What am I doing right now?
I want to be known for my guitar, not my body. Come on, Shania. You know what's weird? She like disappeared for 20 years, right? And then she
had vocal issues. She like damaged her throat. I saw we watched her documentary. It was sad. But she came back stronger than ever. You go, girl.
She came back with like a new face too.
Yeah, she
came back with like, I was like, whoa.
Does that bother you a little bit when like childhood crushes now have new faces and you're like, ugh?
No, I mean, like I think it only bothers me when it doesn't work. Sometimes it like
name an instance where it has worked. Name an instance.
I will give you one. Lindsay Lohan looks outstanding.
You know what? I will agree with you there. She actually does look really good right now. But there's a part of it. But here's the thing. We're looking at a girl who was everyone's childhood crush when we were in high school and middle school. Went through a rough phase where she did not look good. But it was due to like
drugs.
Now she's on the other end of it. So, I mean, yeah, of course she looks great.
Yeah, and I guess to your point, like, she's not that, really, if anything, like, she's not that old. Like, it's not like she was, like, she's not, like, in her mid-60s. Like, that'd be a different thing, where it'd be like...
She's our age.
She is our age, which... Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, no, most people, it doesn't work. It doesn't usually work that well. Sometimes, you know who I was thinking about who really has barely aged, and I don't know how they've done it?
Who?
Susan Sarandon.
She looks great.
She does
look who's aged well.
And she's like 80 years old.
No, she's not. She's not 80.
Yes, she is.
No, she's not.
How old is she?
JCH Crumb. She is not. Oh, dang, she's 78 years old.
I'm telling you, dude. She's 80. And she's a babe.
She is a babe. Holy cow. That's wild, dude. I thought she was like our parents' age.
Well, that's the other wild thing, man. And that's what's crazy. So I was looking at the previews for that new F1 movie with a man we talk about all the time, Bradley Pitt. And, dude, the fact, you know what really messed with me is what you told me a couple podcasts ago when you're like, that guy is only like 2 years younger than my dad. And I keep thinking, because like part of the preview is he's like sitting there like shirtless or something. And I'm like, that's Will's dad. That's Will's dad. How does Will's dad look like that guy? It's crazy.
You gotta wonder what his diet is or what he's like. Hey, have you seen Matt Damon recently? Like, he went from kind of looking like, you know, a man who's aging to like, now he looks like he's 20 years younger.
Telling you, man, these people, all they drink is like green juice and...
That's what I'm saying. They're drinking something that's on the black market.
I know. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful about that. What else is going on? Anything else exciting, Will?
Oh, hey, you know what? Here's what I want to talk about. That bothers me quite a bit. I have a problem with needing to be on the go all the time. I'm a fast walker. I don't have a lot of patience. You know, I don't ride people's tail. I'm not a mean driver, but I like to get from A to B. I don't like dilly-dallying. If there's one thing about Will Skaggs here, he's no dilly-dallyer.
He ain't no dilly. I've always said that about you. You're not a dilly-dallyer.
I don't like to dilly, nor do I like to dally. Okay? We should all, and I recognize we should all be more like elderly women. They like to talk. They like to ask you how you're doing. They like to, they like to ask questions. They enjoy life. I recognize we should be like older women, okay? who are like retired, have grandkids. They're just a nurturing soul. But when I'm in the grocery store and there's an older woman in front of me as the only line available, it happens often, my friend. And there's a part of me that's screaming. I'm like, they have to ask every question. They've got to talk to the grocer. And the grocers, they don't mind. They like talking.
Are they trying to like write a check?
Thank you. They got to get the coupons. They got to write the checks.
You don't take checks anymore? You don't take... We've been taking checks for 15 years, ma'am.
I didn't even think checks still existed.
Oh, no. What's your name? I'm going to write it on the check.
And they got to go through every itemized item on that. Like, is that right? I think I saw that pickles are 50% off. It's like, God, they tell stories about grandkids. I don't like to dilly-dally at the grocery store line. I understand they're being pleasant. They're not hurting anyone. But it enrages me, my friend. Does it bother you at all?
No, not really. It doesn't. I mean, I don't. For me, I panic in line.
Why?
At the supermarket. I just feel like I do a really bad job of like, I'm embarrassed whenever I present the grocery. Like,
wait, what?
Let me explain why. So my wife, her family history, they owned a grocery store. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I know your father-in-law loves grocery stores.
They're obsessed. And she's excellent at it. Like, to the point of like, she will get up to the register and everything she takes out, she puts, like, she's mentally like putting it into like the areas it should be bagged in.
It's like a Tetris situation.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And then she starts bagging concurrently. And meanwhile, when I get there, I'm just like, like I'm trying to like get stuff out, and it's like all the wrong things together. And then like the guy's like, that's like that weird thing where like he's not really bagging. Like there's nobody else who appears to help bagging. So like, am I supposed to bag? But then I'm bagging.
I always do the bagging.
Now I'm doing such a bad job. Like I don't know what to group things up with, and then like I have to pay for it. And then I've done something weird with my cart where like I have to like get around my cart, and there's not enough. Like it's just a mess. I'm a mess every time, and I get so. My goal at the checkout is just to make sure like no one else is in my vicinity, so I can just get in and get out of there, so that I don't, because I feel like I'm going to be ruining somebody else's day because of like the ineptitude of how poorly I handle it. So like I'm the dilly guy. I don't mean to be the dilly guy, but I'm the dilly guy because I'm just very overwhelmed. Very overwhelmed.
Hey, you know what I've learned at the grocery store?
Yes.
I learned, when you sign your name on the digital screen, after you pay, then you sign the digital signature. I have learned that the grocer can see what you're signing. And I learned this because I was with my wife and I thought to be silly, and I signed my name as Butt Cheeks Johnson. The grocer started howling laughing. She was like, "What?" And I go, "Oh, you can see that?" She goes, "Yeah."
What's my name, ma'am? It's Butt Cheeks Johnson. Butt Cheeks Johnson III.
We Johnsons are a proud bunch.
That's awesome. I had no idea. It's impressive she even was looking at it.
It's so now you know. So if you want to like make sure they're paying attention, draw like a little smiley face on there.
I think I do. I imagine at some point in my life working at a grocery store. I don't think I'd be very good at it, but I think I would kind of enjoy it.
What do you think? Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I do sometimes think about what would be a fun job, like, for after I retire, that would just be fun. What would you think, grocery store?
I just kind of think I just want to like be the guy that like does weird adventures for them. Like I just want to be like, they'll be like, no, somebody's got to check the expired milk. who's going to be that guy today? And I'd be like, I'll be that guy. I'll be the expired milk guy.
Yeah.
You know, or like, I don't know. I oftentimes in the grocery store see a couple of employees who are kind of just what appears to be kind of meandering. I'm not sure what they kind of look like they half have a job, but they're kind of like trying to like, they're like looking, and I'm like, I could do that. I could just kind of wander up and down the aisles.
I'd love to be like a 70-year-old barista. I would love to slay some cappuccinos into my 70s.
Ooh.
I wouldn't mind that. I love making a cappuccino.
Ooh, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Get all hipstery.
That would be cool. I'm trying to think like what else. I mean, again, I envision myself at the grocery store. That'd be cool. It would also be cool to be a bartender at like a crappy bar.
Don't you think it's kind of annoying when you have to flag a bartender down? But it's got to be more annoying for them to have to be flagged at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be stressful. As stressful it is to get a bartender's attention, I gotta imagine it'd be more stressful for them.
The thing that worries me a little bit is the math, the quick math. I feel like I would, especially, well, you know, it's a bartender, right? People are yelling things at you quick, and you're having to four drinks times four times 3 times, whatever. And my fear is, then they're throwing money at you. And my fear is, and people get very sensitive about that. You know, if you screw it up, it's like there's a lot of numbers thrown at you. I feel like that's the thing that would throw me off a little bit. Is I feel like I need like a little notepad next to me and be like, you said you want that? I got you 3 drinks. I wrote 3 drinks. I wrote it right here on my pad.
I do think we can have good systems for how we could navigate a better bar experience. But I think because it's like an old tradition, just have one person behind the counter and then you just walk up and take your order, that because tradition, they're just not going to change it. But it's a stupid tradition.
What is your fix to this?
Maybe lines. And you like, if you go to a brewery, yeah, there's a bar, but there's usually a line, and you do like a civilized person. You go to, but when you go to a bar, like an old like dive bar, it's just like first come first. You know, you just walk up and trying to get their attention. I don't. And
there's a lot. And there's a lot of preference.
I'm not sexy. I'm not a sexy man, so I'm not getting anyone's attention. You better believe I'm getting my beer. It's going to take like 30 minutes. I hate it.
Yeah, we're usually not stopping traffic, man. I'm not sure we're going to be the the people that are getting that first old sip. You know,
at what age? Like, when do you remember the first moment where you stepped into like a bar or like kind of a cool area and you realized, oh, I think I might be too old or not cool enough for this? Because it's now very apparent to me, I am no longer fit for places like that. I think it often in certain places. I don't know where I had that like aha moment. I'm too old. I don't know in recent memory where Dude, I just went to Nashville and I went to a baseball game there, their minor league team. And afterwards, I decided to go to this cool looking like German bar across the street. And I walked in there and I realized, oh, this is for young people. And I immediately walked out. It's like, this isn't for me. And that place is crawling with like bachelorette and like bachelor parties, and like it's if you're not ready for that, like it will punch you in the face. That town is something else. That's true. There are a lot of bachelorette parties there. That's weird. That's all it is. It's like half the economy is like that. If you look at like a pie chart, you're like, miss, 10% of our GDP comes from bachelorette parties. Literally. It's impressive. It really is. They all got that stupid sash. Oh, yeah, the sash and the cute skirts with the cowboy boots. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then there's like the one girl who's like crying, like, ah! Where's Kelly? So, okay, but go back to when you felt like, or a notable time you've been like, oh, I'm too old for this crap. Oh, yeah, actually, you know what? I got a pretty good one. I'll tell this story and then I know we got to go here. But during COVID,
I wanted to get I wanted to get my vaccination as quick as possible, right? Um, and the like one of the first places that I could get to get vaccinated was like in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is like literally like 2.5 hours away, right?
Why?
But I wanted to get vaxxed. I was like, I'm tired of like not being vaccinated. It had been like a year. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. I don't even
COVID
care.
did a number on you. Yeah, for
COVID
sure.
did a number on me. You know, it was pretty locked down in Philly area. Like I wanted to get vaccinated. So what I did was for one of the vaccinations, I stayed at State College. Like I actually went up, got like the vaccine, and then literally stayed the evening at University of Penn State, and then drove back in the morning.
Just by yourself?
By myself. I just did it by myself. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it wild? Also, like pre-kid, these are the things you do. These are the magical things that you could do before having a child. And it like at the time it like wasn't even a weird thing. Carolyn would be like,
man, that's like
great.
Nirvana.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of like now to your point, now you say that and you're like, what kind of a madman are you? But like again, pre-kid, like what else was there to do? It was like, okay, sure, go ahead, get out of that. And also it was COVID, so my wife was like, get away from me, please, just get out of here. You've been stuck with me for.
That sounds incredible. Just driving by yourself, listening to podcasts. That sounds incredible.
It was great. So I got back. So some of the bars were open. I mean, you had to do like the social distancing stuff, but like some of the bars were open at Penn State. So like I was like the Final Four was on, and I was like, screw it. Let me go to a bar and just go and like, dude, the bar I chose was.
Oh, no.
It was like one of the only sports bars, but like I had to get like an app. I had to download an app to get in because that was one of the weird things they were doing to figure out how many people. But then, man, I got in there and it was just me at a table and there was the social distancing thing, so it was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But like, it was like also like a club. It made no sense. It was like social distancing, but it was a club. Again, the contradictions that were just flying at you at all direction during COVID.
That was a weird time.
Yeah, I sat there and I looked around and I'm like the old creepy man who's just like here by himself watching a basketball game. And like I was also in this weird section where it was like it was kind of like a legit club. It almost kind of looked like a stereotypical like nightclub from the 90s, like in those 90s movies that the bad guys would like be like. You remember like any like movie in the 90s
where like in it with candles on?
Well, not candy, yeah, kind of, but they were always like elevated. They'd be like, in any of those movies, you'd be like, oh, I see the bad guy, he's up there, and he'd be like having a meeting with like somebody. It'd be, I was like up in that booth. I was like up in that booth, except I was just like watching basketball. but I was looking down upon the club, and I definitely looked like a creepy old man. And it was even nerdier because I literally drove there just to get my COVID vaccine and stayed the night. And like I think I like ate like chicken strips sitting up there too. Like I was like,
you got chicken strips
sitting there like a freaking weirdo. Just kept thinking to myself, God, I'm too old. I am entirely too old for this.
You know what I realized is in 2 more months, I will have driven for half my life. Been able to drive for half my life.
That's scary. That is scary.
That's weird, isn't it?
You're old. You're old, buddy. You're old. All right, well, we're taking this out. It was great catching up, old friend. Let's keep it going. Keep you duties hungry, healthy. Subscribe, like, listen, do whatever it takes, and we'll talk to you later.
And duties, yeah, well, we're busy dudes, okay?
Busy dudes.
But that doesn't mean we're stopping the good fight, aka putting out this nonsense.
Yeah.
We're still going to keep doing that occasionally, so just bear with us, but we hope you enjoy this. We're glad you're listening. God bless America. God bless the Thunder. And God bless Brad Pitt.
And Susan Sarandon.
Have a good week.
Dudies out.
You're listening to Dude Podcast with JC and Will. Put some pep in that step. Enjoy the show.